Hey, what's going on, everybody? So, if you follow me over on Twitter, you already know, most likely, but I announced today that I'd be doing a new series on the channel, probably about once a week, called Optimus Helps, and basically what it is you DM me some stuff on Twitter, you go ahead and tell me a story, something going on, and I talk about it here and give you advice. So, yeah, that's basically what we're going to be doing here. And I already got some really good ones, and whew, I think we're in for a treat, folks. So we're going to go over a couple here already. So the first one we're going to go with here, he asked to remain anonymous or to be referred to as by his first name, but I'm going to go ahead and just give him a different name. We're going to call him Matt. Matt's a 17-year-old boy, and he's having to put up with what he describes as an asshole father who does nothing but say negative things about him, whether that be calling him stupid, useless, anything along those lines. Since he can't move out and it's physically impossible for him to get along with him, he just feels lost at this point and he doesn't know what to do. He said it feels like a dark cloud is above him. It's a bad situation for him. Alright, so first things first, no parental figure should ever be talking to their child like that. You know, no parental figure should ever be calling their children names. I don't really care how old that the kid is. You shouldn't be calling your son useless and stupid. I understand trying to light a fire under him and trying to, get him up and make him do something, but you don't do that by berating them and calling them names. There's a lot of parents in the world who seem to think that, the way to get children to get up and listen and to go do something is to insult them. That doesn't work. Negative reinforcement, especially in this kind of way, it's not going to work like that. It's just not going to happen. Now, Matt here is 17, so he's a year out from being an adult. I'm assuming he lives in the West, which I think pretty much every Western country considers you an adult at 18. Now, Matt, listen, man, the first thing you have to realize right off rip is if your dad is calling you stupid and useless and he's calling you names and berating you, it's not even really you. You're not the problem here, it's him, okay? You can't view yourself as stupid and useless just because, your dad says so. And I understand that it's probably not as easy as I'm making it out to be. I don't know. I obviously am not in this situation, but at the same time, you got to find some sort of self-worth. You can't let what your dad says about you dictate how you feel about yourself. And with him doing that, when he does that, all that does is indicate that there's something wrong with him. He's got problems that he's afraid to address and open up about. And his dad might have been mean to him or something, I don't know. I don't know the situation fully, like I said. But I mean, no normal parental figure would ever act that way. But at the same time, even though I know it's hard for you to get that out of your head, you can't dictate your self-worth based on what some asshole is saying about you. So you need to find something to build your self-esteem up a little bit more. I can tell your self-esteem is not where it should be already just by the message that I'm reading. I understand you're in a bad situation. You feel like you can't move out. I don't know where you live. I know in some areas you can legally move out when you're actually before 18. I think it might depend by state. I'm not 100%. I don't know if you live in the United States. That's the problem. I think there's some areas where you can move out before you're 18 legally, as long as you can support yourself and whatnot. If you can go to a court and you can show that not only can you mentally understand what's going on, but you're financially stable, like you have a job, you can pay bills or whatever, they will grant you, I can't remember what it's called, like autonomy or something like that. I can't remember, but that could be an option you want to go with. I don't know 100% how you feel about that. If you're not in a position to do that, which most kids your age are not, you just will have to learn how to endure that. I hate to tell you that, but if you can't find a way out of the household, whether it's moving in with a friend, moving in with a family member, moving out on your own, getting yourself set up, and by all means, don't move out if you're not ready to leave. Don't just take off and make a rash decision based on your emotions. That's not a good idea. But if you can figure something out and you know that you can handle it yourself, that's maybe an option you go with. Otherwise, I mean, you don't have that much longer to go. You got, a year? Less than a year until you're 18, and then you're free to do literally whatever you want. But at the end of the day, you're not going to get anywhere down the road if you allow him to dictate your self-worth with what he says. And if you keep letting what he says affect you on this mental level, that it feels like this dark cloud. Like I said, I know it's hard. I know it feels impossible sometimes, especially since it's your dad. But you have to find that inside of yourself. That's just some sort of self-journey you're going to have to go on for yourself. Another one's coming from Sean, fan of the channel. He's having problems with his final senior paper in college. By the way, congratulations. It's a huge accomplishment to graduate college. It really is. It takes a lot of determination and effort on your part. He's having an intense problem. He's got to write this senior paper. He has to find 12 different research studies. He has to analyze them. It has to be a 15-page paper. It's due on July 28th, which is just a little bit over a month away. His motivation is at an all-time low. He wants some advice on getting motivated to get this one done. He hates doing research papers. I don't know many people who are like, yeah, man, I love doing college research papers. I didn't like doing them. That's why when I got an opportunity to be self-sufficient from YouTube and from other ventures, I dropped out. So, then again, I wasn't as far along as you are. I mean, you're what, a paper away from graduating college? That should be all the motivation you need in the world right there, man. You know, I understand you hate doing research papers. It's hard to get done. You got a lot of work ahead of you. You have a little bit of time, I guess. At the end of the day, I don't know how hard your study is, your field of study or whatever is to get this all done, but don't you want that college degree, man? You've been working for what, 4 years? However long, I don't know if this is, you know, your bachelor's or whatever you're getting here. You've been working for however many years now to get to this point. You and your parents or whoever paid for it have spent probably at this point tens if not hundreds of thousands of dollars funding this education. You have your whole goddamn life ahead of you, Sean, and you're worrying over something that literally within a month won't even be that big of a deal, as long as you start today and get it done right now. Like, that's all. I think that would be all the motivation you should need right there. Just get your ass up and get it done. Like, I know it's hard, but at the end of the day, if you don't do it, you're probably not going to graduate, right? And you're going to have to, go for a 5th year in college to do something you could have done in, less than a month? All right, now this one's a bit confusing, I'm not going to lie. Yeah, this one's just weird. It's hard for me to wrap my mind around. I proofread these before I come on here and talk about them, of course, but gonna keep his name anonymous for this one as well. His mom sold his house in order to build a new one that was bigger for him and his family. While the house was being constructed, they ended up staying with a friend of hers for a few months. Unfortunately, out of nowhere, her son's house got robbed and his family had to move back, as in the people they were staying with son ended up getting his house robbed. They had to move back in. I'm assuming due to the constraints of the house and not having enough room and, prioritizing family over the friends. Unfortunately, our guest here, or our writer here, his family was quote-unquote evicted or kicked out of the house. Even though they were paying rent and the son wasn't, even then, people are going to put their family over friends, man. You got to understand that. That's one thing about this world. That's just how people are going to be. That's just how it goes. His mom decided to send the writer or the guest here and his 9-year-old sister to her dad's house, which was all the way across the country. This wouldn't be a problem. Unfortunately, he was living in a 1-bedroom apartment with his girlfriend and a 3-year-old child. Obviously wasn't much room. Unfortunately, this forced him to spend hundreds of thousands of dollars on a 4-bedroom and 3-bathroom house. Jesus, man, your grandpa, well, yeah, that's your grandpa, right? Your grandpa that's a man move right there. I really have respect for that. Anyway, you're only a few months away from moving into the new house that your mom got built, but just as you're starting to think that things are getting better, your mom has this new boyfriend you've never seen, and she might be pregnant with her 3rd child, and you don't know what to think anymore. Number one, and I know this is going to sound really harsh, but your mom made a stupid decision right off rip by selling the house that already accommodated your family perfectly fine to build a new house and, had no safety net under her whatsoever, no guaranteed place to stay, even though apparently her friend was going to let her stay. That's not a guaranteed place to stay. Anything can happen, and unfortunately things did happen, and that's why this story continued. That was a horrible decision on her part. If she was going to build a new house, you wait till you have the money to do it, you build it, and you stay in the house you're in then, and then wait for it to be complete, then you sell the house that you have now, and then move. You can't blame that family friend for evicting your family. I mean, they're going to put their family above yours any day of the week, regardless of the money. A lot of people don't think about that kind of stuff. If the kid, unfortunately, their kid has something going on, it's simply just going to be that way. That's how that works. But with you and your sister moving to your grandfather's house across the country, big respect to your grandpa. That's insane that he pulled that off. But the fact that your mom basically took a personal decision and escalated it to the point that everyone else was forced into spending hundreds of thousands of dollars is just not right. Okay, I'm sorry, and I don't want you to think I'm attacking your mom, but that just wasn't the right decision. And of course, hindsight's 20/20. We don't always make the best decisions. We're all human. But at the end of the day, it's something you got to put a little bit more thought into before you do it. As far as your mom having this new boyfriend, there's nothing you can do about that. I don't know how old you are. You didn't tell me how old you were. I'm assuming you're older than your 9-year-old sister. But, I mean, there's nothing you can do about that. What, are you going to kick his ass and he's going to run off down the street? You know, I don't know how old you are, what you think of him, if you've met him yet. Well, you actually said you haven't met him yet. I need to read better. But there's not much you're going to be able to do about that. She's an adult. She's going to make that decision. As far as being pregnant with her third child by this guy, I don't know about all that. That may or may not be a good thing. I don't know. I can't comment on that yet. I don't even know if she's actually pregnant. You never know. I mean, she may or may not be. There's a lot of factors and stuff in that. You don't know. I hope I gave you a little bit of situational clarity, but you really just gotta, I would say, keep a strong mindset, even though I know that's hard to do with everything constantly changing and with all the hardship that you face basically all at once. You just got to learn that sometimes factors are out of your control, and people who have control over you are going to make decisions that you can't necessarily step up and stop. It's not your role to step in and stop those, and unfortunately, sometimes you have to deal with the consequences of those and learn from those at an age that you shouldn't have to. So I hope that made a little bit of sense for you. Now, our last one to wrap this whole thing up is coming from a channel member. Wow, okay. All right, channel member coming in. Channel member alert. He's here to tell a story here. So about 5 days ago, he and his dad were riding four-wheelers, and a cop came and pulled them over and asked how old the channel member himself was. He said he's 16, which is the age limit, I guess, to ride the four-wheeler and, I mean, operate a vehicle on a public road. You have to be 16 anyways. He told him to get off the ATV, so he got off. He told him to put his hands up and get on the ground, and told his dad the same thing. What? There's no way this is all over an ATV ride. This doesn't make sense. It turns out he thought the grass on the axles was weed, and we get taken to the police station. We had a whole trial about it, but that's the last we ride out in public roads. What does this cop think you are, El Chapo's personal bodyguards? He thought weed on the side of your ATV tires was pot. Dude, see, this is what I'm saying right here. What kind of police officer mistakes grass trimmings on the side of ATV tires for weed? That just doesn't even make sense. If I'm being honest with you, man, I know it sounds a little bit far-fetched, but it sounds to me like that police officer had a stick up his ass and was trying to find a reason to pull you over and was trying to find a reason to mess with you. Because I just simply don't believe that any adult human being with an IQ of over like 42 would ever make that mistake, ever. Needless to say, I actually think operating ATVs on roads is illegal. I mean, it is here. I don't know if you live nearby or whatever. I know it's illegal here to ride a four-wheeler on the street, but just don't do that. Obviously, you said that's the last time you're going to do that, but just a really stupid situation. I mean, I don't think you did anything really too wrong in that situation. At the most, he should have just pulled you over and gave you a warning for riding on the road, and that should have basically just been the end of it, really, if you're that police officer. I understand. I've had bad running with police officers too, but this is just ridiculous here. This is insane to even think that something like this would happen, but just be careful, man, when you're riding your four-wheelers. Don't go out on roads anymore. Try and stay away from police if you can. It's obviously not worth it. Was it worth it to get pulled over and be commanded around like that and have a trial because of grass clippings on your ATV wheels? What is this, Miami Vice? I'm floored that anyone would ever think that. Anyways, that's going to be it for this episode of the inaugural series here, inaugural episode of Optimus Helps. I can't even help myself through a sentence here, so I think I'll probably just do this like once a week, maybe twice a week at most. I guess maybe I'll just keep combining topics into a single video like I just did. We'll see. I have no idea yet. Thank you to everybody who sent in your topics. Obviously, I can't cover all of them. I've gotten like 35 of them since I started this alone, which is insane. But, I mean, if you have something you want to tell me and you think it'll make a good episode, you can go ahead and DM me over on Twitter. Drop a like if you enjoyed, subscribe if you're brand new around here, follow me over on Twitter at @SubToOptimus. I post memes, thoughts, and updates over there. It's a surefire way to get notifications of all my newest content. Join the Discord down below, lots of great things going on down there as well. Thank you to my channel members for your $5 a month. Your support helps my channel tremendously, even if apparently you're carrying weed on your ATV tires. And if you'd like to become one, you can do so by hitting the join button or the become a channel member link in the description. And until my next video, guys, this is Optimus helping you with your problems and signing out.